Today I have with me a brand new machine on the coffee market, and I find this to be one of the most interesting and confusing and difficult machines for me to review, and that's because I am not the primary target when it comes to this machine. So right next to me, right there, I have the Acaspresso Espresso Machine. It is a $499, so $500 all included machine. So in other words, you don't really need to buy anything else to brew great quality espresso at home. And yes, I did say great quality because I do think that this produces some incredible results. I think one of the most unique things about this machine is how sleek it looks for an all in one machine. There's like no buttons on it. There's no crevices or anything on it. The grinder is built on it and it just looks really, really nice, in my opinion, on a countertop. This thing has a 58 millimeter portafilter, but that 58 millimeter portafilter is not like every single other one. This portafilter has 3 places to lock into the group head versus a traditional 58 portafilter typically only has 2. This means that you cannot utilize a bottomless portafilter very easily on it because you can't find one for this machine, or at least it's not as accessible as every single other place. So this machine works super easy. You simply turn it on, you wait for it to heat up, and there's going to be an option for you to either let it do a cold shot of espresso or a hot shot of espresso. So it takes a little bit to heat up, not super long, and once it's heated up, it allows you to change the PID, or the temperature of the machine, in Celsius for a few different variations of degrees. So you let that heat up, and then while it's heating up, you can take your portafilter, you lock it into the second group head looking thing, and it's going to automatically grind and dose into your portafilter and automatically tamp your coffee for you. So you really don't have to do anything. You lock the portafilter in, it does its magic, grinds your coffee, tamps it, everything in between, and then you lock it into the group head, press that 1 cup or 2 cup button, brew your espresso. Once that's done, you steam your milk, and it will give you a nice indication when the steam wand is heated up well enough for you to steam milk, and it can do everything very well. In other words, it can pull a really good shot of espresso, it can steam well, and you can make a really nice latte, and you can easily do latte art with it. But there's some drawbacks to this machine as a whole, and that's where it really starts to bug me. Me being somebody who's into coffee and is very precise when it comes to weighing out their coffee, getting a specific dose and all that stuff, this machine is a little tricky. It makes it super easy to increase the volume of your coffee dose if you feel like it's a little less than what it should be, but you can't lower it. And that's where I come into a big issue. I use specialty coffee, and it's usually on a light roast typically, and it's pretty light on the light side of roasting too as well. So when I grind, it'll either come out too fine and it will choke the machine and it will stop, and it will be above the pressure. There's a little pressure gauge right in the center of the machine that kind of helps you know if you're on target. If I coarsen up the beans, what it's going to do is it's actually going to add more coffee to it too. So I might be jumping up from 16 to 22, and if I go even coarser, it can go all the way up to 27 grams of coffee that it's been putting in this portafilter. And each of those times, I find it really difficult because it still kind of chokes the machine when it comes to it. But if I can get it in the right spot, I can usually pull a good shot, and I think this machine is going to excel when it comes to like a medium roast, or if you buy coffee beans from the grocery store rather than a local roaster. So I think a very fair comparison to this is the Breville Barista Express, which I've used extensively. It is not with me here in this house. I don't have one anymore. But one of the things about that one is that one, I think, allows you to control things a little bit more because you have to tamp and you can scrape off those grounds a little bit to make it 18 grams if you wanted to, and you can adjust that grind time of the grinder on there. So there's a little bit more adjustability when it comes to it. However, with all that adjustability comes more issues when it comes to learning a machine. So that's where I find this interesting. If you are somebody who is interested in getting into coffee as a whole, you want an all-in-one machine to get you started that's beginner friendly, but you're probably going to go further and you know yourself well enough to do that, I think maybe doing something like that Breville Barista Express or a Breville machine as a whole is the smarter way to go. My reasoning for that is because that allows you to be able to have some more customability. There's some more accessories and stuff that allow you to really explore coffee. You can use that grinder more independently. You can dose into a dosing cup rather than a portafilter if you want, and really hit that 18 grams in there. When it comes to this, you can't. And that's the frustrating part about it. That grinder is kind of set up to be the way that it is, where it automatically doses, and it's not going to be perfect, but you can still get a good shot with it. And that is incredibly frustrating to me. But if you're not somebody like you want, if you're somebody who wants something as simple as possible, not a lot of fuss, and easy to pull a good shot with, this will do it. If you're somebody who goes to a Starbucks or a Dunkin' Donuts or a wherever it is, Dutch Bros or whatever it is, this might be a better machine for you, because then you don't have to mess out with weighing your coffee. You don't have to fuss as much with the grinder. It's lock the portafilter in and pull a shot. It has a recommended style grind setting, and you can kind of adjust it from there if you want to, but it does pull a decent and drinkable shot. Like, I will drink a shot straight from this grinder and straight from this machine. However, I find it kind of a little bit finicky because it can't do the things that I want, and that leads me to a lot of frustration. So if you're really looking for an easy machine and you don't want to really fuss with espresso, I really think that this is a strong contender. I think for $500 this does pull a good shot, and it does have a good quality grinder when it comes into it, and I think it grinds very, very well for what it is, and you don't even have to mess with tamping. It does a pretty even tamp every single time, and if there's an issue with anything on the machine, it kind of tells you and guides you pretty well. It looks pretty sleek. It's really easy to clean. All of this is like touch on here, so there's like a touch power button that'll turn on, and it'll give you some custom options as it heats up. It's very, very nice when it comes to what is in this machine. It has that hot water tap. It has a steam wand. The steam wand takes a little bit to heat up, but overall, for $500, this is a very, very good, well-rounded machine that really packs in everything that somebody would need when it comes to brewing coffee. And it's at a very affordable price point, in my opinion, at $500 for getting a grinder and a machine. And I think that's a pretty well worth it when it comes to the price. And I don't really have any like major complaints when it comes to what this machine, in my opinion, was designed for, which is the person who just wants a decent cup of coffee and a decent latte pretty quickly. The cold extraction function I just find super gimmicky. I don't think that ever needs to be a thing. If you're making an iced latte, you're brewing 2 ounces or 3 ounces of espresso. Throw some ice on it, it's going to be fine, and it's going to cool it down fine. You don't need to do a cold extraction when it comes to it. But I think this machine looks sleek, I think it looks great, and I think it works great. It's just not a machine that I would ever want to use because it limits me. But however, I do know a lot of people who would be interested in this machine, and I think it's a great contender for the Breville Barista Express, and I think you can save yourself $200 and get an easier workflow if espresso is something that you don't want to dive deep into, but you still want a good shot of espresso when it comes to it. So let me know if you have any questions. I hope this video informed you well, and I want to thank you so much for watching.